What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Moedotj and we are locked in. Now this is Hip Hop Uncovered Part 3. The series is very, very good, man. Bear with me. I got a new microphone, you know what I'm saying? We got the boomstick and everything. So we're trying to get the levels and stuff together, but this is the test. And before we get into all that, shout out to Notification Gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of this, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Now, Hip Hop Uncovered, they're showing us a lot of the details that came from the 80s that transfers over to the 90s. And here we are today. We're about to pick up in the 90s. This is Hip Hop Uncovered Part 3. For those of you that forgot, we have 5 influential people on here. We got out in LA, we got Big U, Trick up in Detroit, we got Haitian Jack, Bimmy, and Deb. All of them are coming out of New York. Now we're gonna go into their each individual stories to show how they actually got all the way into music. Last week we were just stepping into how they were introduced to it and what they were doing before they got into music. This week we're gonna show them actually getting into the music all the way. And we're gonna start with Big U out in LA. N.W.A, straight out of Compton. We know what they about. We know what they started. We know the movement that was behind them. So this is going to show where N.W.A came out with F the Police. It just changed everything. Now people felt like they had a voice. So I'm talking from the east to the west coast, north to the south. People are hearing this and they're saying, finally, we can talk about what's really going on and not really care about it. So N.W.A opened the door for everybody and time started to shift when this happened. The reason this song resonated with everybody is because everybody was going through these same struggles when it came to dealing with the police. They're supposed to serve and protect, but they were really serving ass whoopings, and we still getting that today. So Dr. Dre, he talks about the reason they came up with F the Police, because if you remember in the Straight Outta Compton movie, they showed them getting roughed up in front of their studio. So that was the real moment that really influenced them, stacked on top of all the other things of them being black and the cops messing with them. So everybody heard this song and they knew that the guys rapping it, N.W.A, they meant it because we all meant it. F the police. Since we're following Big U, he gives us a detailed story of how he got locked up for some BS. He said there was 5 different police precincts and they came and they just shut the whole block down, had 2 helicopters, and they just started rounding everybody up. So it really didn't matter what you were doing. It was more of, if you were in the area, go ahead, slap these cuffs on. It's over with for you, man. The cops are rounding up people and they don't care who they're getting as long as they black. Oh, easy time, throw them in jail. For Big U, life started coming at him fast. So for him, he felt if he can make it past this at 19, then he's definitely going to get out of jail and he's going to change his life. He can't be going in and out of prison, especially with his kids growing up. So for Big U, he took this moment as, hey, I need to get right and start looking for the future, because this ain't it. This jail, it ain't what nobody wants to do. He's about 2021 and he's noticing everywhere he goes, he's Big U, the gangster, Big U, the thug, Big U gonna whoop your ass. For him, he was looking at it like, the only way I'm gonna make it through this is if I change it up. I can't be Big U, the street guy. Now I can use that street cred as Big U, but I need to be Big U, the businessman. I need to see how I can make money off of this and be legit, because going to prison, it definitely ain't the route you want to go. And Big U, he realized that. I mean, it's unfortunate he got into some, little messed up situations, but sitting them down, that may have been one of the best things for him, because he changed his life around from there, and he's the Big U we know today. One day, randomly, a guy named Pop LQ, he had a single called The Beat Time, and it was a gold album. So what he did was he came up to Big U and he said, hey, I want you to be my manager. At this time, Big U's like, I don't know anything about music. I don't know anything about being a manager. But the guy knew that Big U had that reputation, knew that he knew people and he could navigate around the streets and through the city and pretty much be protected, but no one's gonna screw Big U over. So that's how Big U actually got into music. He became a manager, and it was just random. Now Big U is starting to roll. Corrupt, he's a rolling 60s also. Now he knew Big U, and Big U took him up under his wing and pretty much said, hey, you my little brother, hey, I'm gonna make sure you're straight. Now Corrupt, he's young, he's running around, they gang banging. This is what they do. So if one of their boys is going to go roll on something, Corrupt's trying to go too. But Big U was not going to allow that to happen, because he knew music was the way for Corrupt to get away from all this corrupt environment. Hey, it's a play on the name right there. Now insert John Singleton in the Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood really changed the way that black people started seeing our community. Now, Boys in the Hood was very influential. We all know the history behind that. Now, this was actually recorded the next block over from Big U. So all of this is his neighborhood. This is what they know. And Boys in the Hood really changed the environment in LA and across hoods across America. It was only a time before the West Coast started to build their own culture. And we know the West Coast has its own culture. It's very different and distinct from every other city. Now, LA, nothing but a G thing comes out. And I'm talking about, hey, you know what I'm saying? We kicking it. We all know nothing but a G thing. But you see how LA culture is. They got the low riders. They hitting switches. They got the barbecue. Everybody's out. So now all the eyes are on, hey, what the hell is going on in LA? We got to get out there. So in the early 90s, when N.W.A came out in the late 80s, and in the early 90s, when Snoop and them started picking up, LA started to get that recognition. And it was time for the ball to start moving out there. Now that music was just bumping, but insert Death Row, and that's where the streets became music. Hip hop in the streets, hey, they got like this. Once Death Row came, now you started to integrate the gangs. You started bringing in the Bloods with Death Row. But then you also had Diddy coming out there and messing with the Crips. Man, this is where the gang stuff started to infiltrate into hip hop hard. Corrupt gives us a story about Big U actually looking out for him. Corrupt wanted to roll with a couple of his boys. They about to go do something, you know what I'm saying, some stupid shit. And Big U seen him. He came over and told him, hey, get up out the car. You either rapping or you in the streets, but you rapping. So he snatches Corrupt up by the collar and gets him about the car. And for Corrupt, that actually helped him. That changed his life. Just focus on the music. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Let the street dudes do that. You get this money in the rap game, bruh. Leave all that streets alone. Now we're going to head all the way back up to Detroit and talk to Big Trick Trick. Trick Trick wasn't into the music yet. He was hearing a few things, but he wasn't really into it. He was still on the corner selling his stuff, trying to make some money, making his way through through life. Now, he said that RC moved from New York over to his block. And he used to go into the studio, but he would bring Trick Trick in. And for Trick Trick seeing all this, he started getting intrigued. Like, oh, this is what this is? Okay, let me try a few things out. Now Trick Trick has an idea. Oh, we can make some money off this music stuff. So he had a 2-tape deck, and what he would do is take a song, he'd take the instrumental and he'll just loop it. And then this would give him the instrumental to actually rap on. Now, he went to a few of his friends and they heard it and they said, wait a minute, we need to get you to the studio and actually record this. So now Trick Trick is about to get into the rap game. We all know how the studio time is funded. You know, a little bit of his proceeds from that street money, you got to sprinkle it in. You got to get studio time. You might need new equipment. So this is how Trick Trick's in the game. Snoop also breaks it down that most drug dealers, dope boys, they take that entrepreneurship from the streets and they bring it into hip hop. And now they can not only be an owner of it, this is where you get your Eazy-E's. He's the owner and he's like, oh, I could be the star. I could be the rapper also. And this is what took place for Trick Trick. He started bringing in money off the streets, producing stuff, and he started rapping and he became the boss that he is. Eazy-E said it best. The rap game is legit money and I'm trying to go legit. You take a little bit of that street money, mix it into the hip hop stuff. Hey, now the money's clean. We can leave the bricks alone. Eazy-E was a smart man. And there's a lot of businessmen that are following that same path. It's easy. Get yourself some money and get about the game, man. Let's take the next flight to New York. Now, Haitian Jack, with him, we know he's an immigrant. And at this point, he's talking to his boys and they're telling him, yeah, immigration, they tripping. They starting to deport people. You know, it's a new law. So you need to be careful. One day, Haitian Jack gets a phone call and it's the court saying, hey, we need you to come down to the court tomorrow with your passport. So for Haitian Jack, he's already knowing what's going on. And he's thinking, I'm not about to go down there and turn myself in and give him my passport because they're going to deport me. So what he did was, okay, I'll be there tomorrow morning. He picks up. He goes to Atlanta the next day. He's not turning himself in to get deported. Once Haitian Jack gets down there, they tell us about Dallas Austin. If you haven't heard about Dallas Austin, you should look him up. He's an award-winning producer. He did stuff with TLC. He was actually dating Chili, but he was doing a lot of beats and he was doing a lot of producing. So he knew a lot of street dudes. He was actually making some money, but he started a record label to help get some of these other street dudes that wasn't really too far up with making the street money, but helping them out to try to get them out of the street game. So Dallas Austin, he really played a very big role when it came to helping out Atlanta finally getting started in their music scene. Haitian Jack's name is known in New York. Now, people know who he is in Atlanta because word's going to get out. Oh, Haitian Jack's in town and he had some bread. Now, Dallas Austin was working with Madonna. And one day, Haitian Jack pulled up and everybody like, oh, Haitian Jack is here, Jack is here. And Madonna's just sitting there because she doesn't know who Haitian Jack is. But they eventually end up building a bond together because Haitian Jack says, Madonna, she was really liking the thugs. She's liking the hood dudes, the street dudes. And who else was really doing what Haitian Jack was doing and was well respected? So they built that bond and they actually became a, saying a little, saying I'm not gonna get into too much, but Haitian Jack was doing his thing with Madonna. Street dude, but a pop star. This is where things start to get shaky. Now, they always say it's a woman that's going to separate people and really start the beef between each other. Now, Tupac knew who Haitian Jack was. And for the movie Above the Rim, Haitian Jack says he was studying him. Tupac was watching his mannerisms, watching how he carried himself so he could put that on the screen. He even told Haitian Jack, hey, I'm studying for this new role, so I'm going to be watching you and seeing what you do. Now, Haitian Jack and Pac, they were always cool. But like I said, there's always a moment in time where there's a woman that comes in the way, and let's jump into that. So Haitian Jack is telling Pac, hey, if you're going to be studying me, you can't be walking around sagging with your pants off your ass. You got to carry yourself differently. So Haitian Jack said he's the reason why you see Pac wearing the silk shirts, the Versace, Dolce & Gabbana. And in this picture, he even shows him and Pac where he bought him a Rolex. So he's trying to show Pac, hey, if you want to carry yourself this way, you got to make yourself look more important. You can't be carrying yourself looking like a thug or whatever, because that's just going to draw more attention to you. If you wear the suits and things, then that's when you're actually moving. That's when you're moving the right way. Now we get to speak with Miss Deb. Now, you remember she got shot because she's out there, she's making moves. Now, after she got shot, she started looking at life and like, man, I gotta change how I'm moving around. Now she meets a man named Red, who ends up becoming the father of her youngest son. And they met each other in a business transaction, if you know what I mean, the streets. But he told Deb, look, we can't both be in the streets. You got to get back in school. You got to learn how to do something else and move differently, because I'm going to still be out here, but we can't both be in it. He told Deb, you got 10 minutes. If you don't get right, then I'm leaving. Don't even worry about it. So for Deb, this is where she started to see, maybe I do need to get out the streets. I've been shot. Let me, try something else out. Let's try some music or something. Deb started to take the music seriously, and she made her first record label called Simply Music. Now, the first artist she signed is Miss Tiffany Mallow, and she seen her at a little boys and girls little community center, and she was singing. Deb thought she was so beautiful, and it was like the daughter she never had. So at that moment, she said, I want to sign her. Deb's been moving. People know her name, but they don't know who Deb is, and that's because she still has a street center where you're not gonna know who she is. You're just gonna know that she's making moves. So this kind of, hurt her a little bit because she didn't have that reputation in the music yet. But this was just the beginning for Deb. Now we're on our way down to the A. Haitian Jack goes into details about how him and Pac started to kind of fall off. Now, you remember they both had that little case, the little sexual assault case up in the room with the girl. Now, Haitian Jack says they could have both easily beat this case, but Pac's lawyer started to turn him against Haitian Jack. They got different lawyers, and that's why the whole thing started to fall apart. And this is where Haitian Jack says, the differences between us started to come out, because you don't do your boy like that. Regardless of what anyone says on the outside, it's what me and you do, and it's the trust between us two. Now, I'm not going to go too much in detail about that story because I don't know the whole detail. I'm just going off of what Haitian Jack told us in this show. What I mentioned to you earlier, usually a woman is the reason that people fall apart. Now, we know Pac started messing with Madonna and they started getting close, but Madonna started to realize that Pac wasn't who Pac was. There was two Pacs, according to Haitian Jack. There was a Tupac we knew that you would see on TV, and then the real Tupac. Haitian Jack is alleging that Pac was living the life that Haitian Jack was living, and Madonna started to realize that Tupac wasn't as gangster or as tough as he was making it off to be. And this is where the friction between Haitian Jack really came about. Now, unfortunately for my dog Bimmy, now I really became a fan of his person and his backstory. But Bimmy tells us when he actually got locked up. Now, he goes and meets with this lady who lived, she had a spot about a block away from him or whatever. But he went over there and she was like, oh yeah, we want to buy some of them things. My boy want to buy some of them things. So Bimmy goes over there and he's asking for a price higher than normal. But the guy's like, yeah, I'll take that. And I'll take some more. So Bimmy calls his boy like, hey man, I think I just sold to an undercover. Bimmy ended up getting set up for this. He said, I think I sold to an undercover. I'm about to get the hell up out of here. So for Bimmy, it's unfortunate, man, but these police, they shouldn't be allowed to. If they sell you some drugs, they shouldn't be allowed to arrest you for selling narcotics. That's just stupid. Once Bimmy figured out that he may have sold to an undercover, he hightailed it, went to Atlanta. And you know, guess who's down there? Haitian Jack. Hey, Haitian, I need a spot to stay. Now, he's saying they weren't roommates, but it was still like, hey, if I needed a spot to stay at, you know, Haitian Jack will let me stay there for a week or two, and then I'll dip. I might go back to New York. I might go here or there, but he had some spots to stay at, and that's what you need, a solid connection of people. Bimmy leaves Haitian Jack's spot. He goes and stays with his dog, Bobby Brown. Now, you got to remember, Bimmy is well connected. He's a part of the Supreme team, so everyone knew who he was up in N.W.A. And that name's going to carry, because if you were moving any kind of things, you know who Supreme was and you know who Bimmy was. Now, Bimmy's best friends with Bobby Brown, and let me tell you about this. Bimmy hops on a plane. I don't know why he was going, you know, and making some moves like that, but he ends up getting caught in DA and they arrest him. So now here's his picture, his mug shot while he's in jail. But at this point, he's locked up and the judge says, oh, it's a $2 million bail. So what does he do? Hey, Bobby Brown, hey, I need $2 million to get on up out of here. Bobby Brown and Whitney, they actually come up there and they give Bimmy $2 million to get out of jail. Now, the lawyer's trying to tell the judge, oh, this is Whitney Houston, because at this time, the judge didn't know who Whitney Houston was, but pretty much saying this is Whitney Houston, they're good for that money. That $2 million to be legit. Now, Bimmy is out on the $2 million bail, but his lawyers tell him, hey, bro, you need to decide, because the feds, they're going to hit you with 3 to 10, and you need to take this state time, because when the feds come for you, you're doing all that time. So Bimmy, he's like, man, the hell with it. I'm going to go ahead and sit down. I'm going to do this little state time. Deb goes into detail about how Red ended up getting killed. And for her, she had to get out of New York because there wasn't going to be a mother for her kids anymore. She went through a 60-day depression. And for her, it was like, I got to get out of here. I can't be Big Deb or anything no more. I just got to be Deborah, and I got to get about the city because I can't stay up here too much longer. It's not going to be good for me or my family. Big U, he's been running around, you know, going up to Minnesota, going here, going there, setting up shop. He's on the run from the cops, but he ends up getting caught and he gets sentenced to 56 years. And for him, he's like, damn, I got to focus on this prison stuff. This ain't where I want to be at, but I got to focus, get my mind right in here so I can get out and make sure that I'm there for my family members. We got Bimmy getting locked up, Big U getting locked up, Trick's about to get locked up. He said when he was on the way to court, Ghetto Boys, my mind's playing tricks on me, is playing. It's raining outside, and he was like, damn, it really is. But when he got to jail, he said he had to go through a jail cell, through another jail cell, through another jail cell, through another jail cell, just to get in there and have rows and rows of inmates sitting in there on top of each other, floor after floor after floor of inmates just thrown in there like animals. It's no place for anybody to be. Now, I know that these guys are inmates, they're criminals, but you still got to treat them a little bit better than what they were doing. Now we know with everything going on, we're seeing all of these crimes and murders committed by the police on every single day on TV, on your phone. It doesn't matter. You're going to see it. Now, one of the big incidents was the Rodney King, and this is what really put the focus on police brutality. And everybody's looking at it, But we all know these cops, they all got off. They all whooped on this man for minutes, like bow, bow, bow. But they all got off. So everyone's looking at it like, this is what's really going on. This is why we make the song called F the Police. And this is what got everyone in their feelings saying, burn it down, tear it down. And this is why we got all of these riots. You get your Detroit riots, you get your LA riots, because everything that's going on could easily be prevented. But the cops are in fear of their life and they're just scared of their job. If you're too scared, don't take the job. It's just as simple as that. But you're still whooping on black people. You're killing innocent black people. So everybody's in outrage. In hip hop, oh, they're going to speak about it. That's one thing they're going to do. There you go. That is Hip Hop Uncovered Part 3. Now, for me, I want to know who you think would be most influential if you were growing up in these times. Who would you want to be under? Trick, Deb, Haitian Jack, Bimmy, or Big U? Me personally, I like Big U. I listen to all his interviews. I like Big U, and I go that direction. Let me know what you think below. But like I said, that's Hip Hop Uncovered Part 3. I'm Moedotj. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit that like button. Let's grow to 5,000 together. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.